listeners, I am Dr. Aman Biswas on the platform of iProf, and today I am going to take you to the world of viruses. Rather, I should say the amazing world of viruses. As we know, they are totally unique in comparison to other organisms. And for that, if we go back to the classification which was given by Whitaker in 1969, where he tried to divide every living organism into the 5 kingdoms, he couldn't give any place to the viruses in any of the kingdoms. You all must be knowing we call them subcellular. Now the reason being calling them subcellular is that if we look into the modern theory of Schlichten, Schwann and Virchow, what exactly is a cell which has both the set of nucleic acids? Viruses do not obey that. They have either DNA or RNA. That is the reason they are subcellular. In addition to that, we all know they have no metabolic machinery of their own. They do reproduce, which is a remarkable feature of the living organism. But for reproduction, viruses do require another organism. And what is really exceptional about them on the basis of genetics, they do not obey the central dogma of molecular biology. So if we say that they have one set of the nucleic acid, that is, if we try to look the diversity of viruses on basis of the nucleic acid, first of all, we will call them eukaryotes. No question of here nucleus. But on the basis of nucleic acid, they are deoxyvira having set of DNA, or they are reovira having set of RNA, or something very unique called as retrovira, which have genetic machinery as RNA, but they are very much exceptional, having some enzymes of their own, which is never there in any of other viruses, which is called reverse transcription. Now, before we look into the structure of the viruses, something is very important regarding their historical facts or the discoveries which are related to the viruses, because most of the people who are associated with the discovery of viruses are the Nobel laureates. We start with this word itself, that who coined this word virus, which actually means poison. This word was coined by the great person, the father of fermentation, you all must be knowing, Louis Pasteur. And then the first person who scientifically proved the existence of virus itself, and coincidentally the virus which he proved to be existing was tobacco mosaic virus, was Dmitry Ivanovsky, the Russian scientist. And the first human viral disease which was discovered is a disease which is much talked about, the yellow fever, and that was discovered by Walter Reed. And the first people who talked about that viruses not only attack plants or animals, but they do attack bacteria. They were Twat and D. Harel, who also coined, D. Harel, the French scientist, also coined the term bacteriophage. Now you must be knowing the terminologies associated with viruses. That is, if they attack animals, we call them zoophages. If they are attacking cyanobacteria, we'll call them cyanophage. If they are attacking the plants, we'll be calling them phytophage, and if they attack fungi, we'll call them mycophages. Then one scientist is again very important associated with the viruses. That is, in 1935, the Nobel laureate Stanley was the first person who crystallized the virus. So the only organisms which are considered on the threshold of living and non-living can exist in the form of crystals. So let us pick up now their size. If we consider the animal viruses, the size can vary from 10 nanometer to as big as 400 nanometer, the smallest being foot and mouth disease causing virus, and the largest being, which has been almost eradicated from the world, that is smallpox virus. And if we consider the plant viruses, the largest is the rod shape attacking the Rutaceae family, that is a citrus family. So the name is Citrus tristasa, which is about 0.02 millimeter in size. As far as the structure of the viruses is concerned, whether they are deoxyvira or they are reovira or the retrovira, something is uniform about them, that each of the kind of viruses is going to have a genome in the form of nucleic acid covered by a protein coat. So this protein coat is referred to as capsid, and each unit of, or each protein subunit, which is a polypeptide, they are called as capsomere, and capsid along with the nucleic acid is referred to as nucleocapsid, which you can very well observe in the figure given for you. And then in addition to this nucleocapsid, certain viruses are also enveloped. Most of the viruses which are associated with animals, for example the pox virus, the Bunia virus, the herpes virus, arbovirus, are in fact the group of retrovira. They are the enveloped viruses, and this envelope is made up of a classical glycoprotein. Each of the virus has its own kind of glycoprotein, which are referred to as papillomeres. So as far as the symmetry of the viruses is concerned, again we can categorize them into three kinds. They may be cubical, which is also called as icosahedral shape, or they may be in the form of a rod, which is called helical, or sometimes icosahedral and helical, they combine together, and that results in the complex viruses. You all must be knowing again, icosahedral is a polygonal which has 12 corners, 20 facets and 30 edges. And who exactly come under this cubical group of the viruses, where the capsids are cubical? They are again papovirus, picornavirus, and very famous again the herpes virus, and many kind of the toga viruses, which are very, very dangerous, which we'll be talking about when we will a little later on discuss the viruses causing the human disorders. Then helical viruses are where the capsomeres and nucleic acid, they are wound together in the form of a spiral tube or helical, and most of the reovira, they belong to this group of the helical viruses. For example, you all must be knowing the tobacco mosaic virus, which we have to remember another thing, because if we look most of the competitive exam, because this is one of the viruses which has been studied much into detail, they do ask us that how many capsomeres they form the protein coat of tobacco mosaic virus. So do remember, it is 2130 capsomere, and if you look at each capsomere, it has about 163 amino acids, which is very clear even in the figure given for you. to the last one, the one which are very complex, no doubt the largest one, the pox virus. Even most of the bacteriophages, they belong to this group, where there is a head which is icosahedral and then there is a tube. So if we look T bacteriophages, again here one very important thing I shall like to mention for you, which is again important as far as our competitive exams are concerned, that the bacteriophages, all of them are deoxyvira. So they have a capsid which is icosahedral associated with a tail. Again, tail has a tail fibers. So this structure will be referred to as a complex virus when it is having both the set of icosahedral as well as the helical tube. Then shapes of certain viruses are again very remarkably different, and which are again important for us. For example, the largest pox virus is the only one which is brick shaped. Then rabies causing virus looks exactly like a bullet, and tobacco mosaic virus, again we have already seen the figure, it is a rod shape.